Draw was the goal, not 100. Steyn slams Jadeja. Sundar for handshake. Snub backs Stokes in gentlemanly debate. Dale Steyn backed Ben Stokes in handshake. Row slammed Ravindra. Jadeja and Washington. Sundar for chasing hundreds after draw was secured. Former South Africa fast bowler Dale Steyn on Monday offered a completely fresh perspective on the drama that unfolded during the final hour of the Manchester Test between India and England. Going against the tide, Steyn rather jumped to Ben Stokes' defense, as he questioned the logic behind Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar chasing for their respective milestones once a result was out of the question. It was Jadeja and Sundar's defiance that saw India deny England a win, which at one point seemed highly probable, especially after Chris Woakes had picked successive wickets in the first over of India's second innings at Old Trafford, leaving them at 0-2. On Sunday, after England ended Shubman Gill and KL Rahul's vigil early on day 5, they sniffed another shot at pinning India down and getting a result in the match, but the two all-rounders stitched an unbeaten 203-run stand to force a draw and keep the series alive. During the final hour of the game, as Stokes realized that England could no longer force a result, he walked up to Jadeja and Sundar to offer a handshake and end the match. However, the captain faced a rejection as Jadeja, in his 90s, and Sundar, batting in his 80s, were keen to get to their well-deserved centuries, leaving Stokes frustrated. The Indian batters were taunted before part-time Harry Brook was called upon for bowling duties, and Jadeja and Sundar wrapped things up within the next 15 minutes. Stokes' act sparked a barrage of criticism. Even South Africa bowler Tabraiz Shamsi agreed with the logic, as he saw no wrong in Jadeja and Sundar wanting to get to their hundreds. Why is there such a big deal being made about the Indians choosing not to accept the offer to end the game in a draw immediately? The offer was made. The offer was rejected, and they were fully entitled to make their choice. They got their 100s, which they worked hard for. Game over, he wrote on X. Steyn agreed that the two Indian batters were well within their right to make that demand, especially after leading India's fight back on the final day of the fourth test, but felt they should have paced things up to get to the triple-figure mark in the final hour once the result was out of the question. The bowling legend reminded that the batters were not playing for their milestones, but for the draw. This onion has many layers to it, and each one will make someone cry. The only issue I see here is the one thing people aren't realizing: the batters weren't playing for 100s, they were batting for a draw. That was the goal. Draw the game. Once that was accomplished, and a result was out of the question, a handshake was offered. That's the gentlemanly thing to do, right? It's not then the time to realize they safe and now say no, we prefer some free milestones, although within the rules, just seems a little, well, odd. That said, they did bat well, and maybe with the last hour approaching they should have been more aggressive in reaching those milestones. At least then, we could all agree, no team tried to outdo the other in this weird situation, Steyn tweeted in response to Shamsi. Don't forget to subscribe for more cricket drama and analysis.